Hello guys, it is Gates of Theories here, and if you are a Pixar fan like us, you will probably know what this poster on screen is all about. But if you don't know what it is, then this is a poster for Pixar's movie Newt. Now, if you've never heard of that movie, I do not blame you because it is not really well known. And the reason for that is because this movie was the only Pixar movie ever to be announced and be put in production and then scrapped halfway through. Now, if you're a long-term viewer of this channel, you will know that we have done a video about Pixar's Newt before, and we wondered how on earth it would fit into the Pixar theory if it had never been scrapped. So I thought we'd look at how on earth Pixar's Newt would fit into our huge alternate timeline theory if it had never got scrapped. But before we go any further, you need to have made sure that you have seen the alternate timeline theory, so I will leave a card to our playlist up there. So make sure that you go and watch it. Now, even though Newt never actually became a proper feature-length film, there's still loads of Easter eggs in other Pixar movies referencing Newt. The first one is Toy Story 3, because Newt was originally going to be the movie after Toy Story 3. And if you know Pixar well, what they do is in every movie, they always leave an Easter egg to their future movie that's going to come out next. So in Toy Story 3, it is this Newt crossing in Andy's room. There is another Easter egg also in Brave, when the witch puts a newt in her potion. And finally, there is an Easter egg for Newt in The Good Dinosaur, only for a tiny little bit of it, where a newt is crawling along the floor. Now, because Newt was cancelled, we don't actually know much about it, so it's going to be hard to try and fit it into the ultimate timeline theory. We do, however, know the plot and some concept art for it. Now, from this picture full of loads of the concept arts for Newt, we know that there's definitely going to be loads of different animals and loads of different humans in Newt if it was ever created again. So from this, we can roughly say that Newt will take place in the animals and humans getting smarter period of the ultimate timeline theory. But to find out where on earth Newt would go in the animals and humans getting smarter section, then we need to find out why on earth Newt was cancelled in the first place. Now, before I mentioned about the plot of Newt, and the plot of Newt is basically scientists bring the last two remaining newts together to try and save their species, except from these two newts absolutely hate each other, but they end up going on a nice adventure with each other. Now, that might sound familiar because it's the exact same plot of Rio, well, this time with birds. And Rio and Newt went into production at the same time and were going to be released in cinemas also at the same time. But they didn't cancel Newt because Rio was sort of copying Newt. No, because Pixar haven't cancelled any of their previous films when other movie companies are trying to copy it, such as Finding Nemo and Shark Tale, and the most well-known one, A Bug's Life and Ants. But unfortunately, it wasn't just Rio that was sort of copying Newt, because in that same year that Newt was going to come out, another animation company was creating Rango, which is a movie all about lizards. And both of these movies were starring really big stars to play the main characters. But while all this was going on, Newt was also struggling in development, so Pixar decided to get some help from one of their old helpers, which is Pete Docter. And Pete Docter became in charge of Newt, but basically he thought there's too many movies coming out that are exactly like Newt. They're struggling in development. Let's just scrap all of it and let's create Inside Out. Like, I love the movie Inside Out, but am I the only person who's upset that they didn't do Newt? Tell us in the field section down below if you are as upset as me, because I'd really like to see this movie. I just wish that they had done Inside Out and Newt, and not cancelled Newt. So, hopefully they'll do it again in the future, but it's very unlikely that Newt will ever return. So, finally, back to how on earth Newt fits into the Ultimate Timeline theory, because it is literally the exact same movie as Rio, and it takes place in the animals and humans getting smarter period. I'm going to put it right next to Rio. So guys, that is how Newt would have fitted into the Ultimate Timeline theory if it had never been cancelled. If you did enjoy this video, then please like it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Tell us in the field section down below if you think we put Newt in the right place, or if you have any other way of Newt going into the Ultimate Timeline theory. Also, tell us down there if you are upset if Newt never became a proper movie, and tell us if you want it to come back, or tell us if you were glad with Pete Docter's decision of making Inside Out instead of carrying on with Newt. Tell us all that in the field section down below. And also, we will leave a card and a link in the description down below if you want to go and see how on earth we think Newt would have fitted into the Pixar theory if it had never been cancelled. And as always, we've been here on Gate of Theories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.